Tonight we will be showing you how to request a wheelchair costume and then talk to a family who requested a Black Hawk helicopter costume and how small our lives have become.
And it starts now.
It feels like we achieved something bigger than we originally thought we'd ever do. And now look at it, it's grown huge.
My son Reese was born with cancer. What it ended up doing is it crushed his spinal cord. And when he was 3 years old, he got his first wheelchair and he wanted to be Wally for Halloween. So I thought, I can build one. I can, try and see what I can come up with. And so it started with just, building a simple costume, a Wally costume around his wheelchair out of a Dell computer box. It has exploded into something that was the inspiration behind Walkin Rollin costumes.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Lon Davis.
And I'm Reese Davis.
And we are the co-founders and creative designers for Walkin Rollin Costumes. Now, before we get started tonight, I just want to say something. I want to give a shout out to Scott Moreland from Shawnee, Kansas. Last night, right after our episode 4, we received a $1,000 donation from Scott Moreland. So thank you very much. We appreciate it. That will go to build about 4 or 5 costumes for kids in wheelchairs. Thank you very much. So now on with our show.
Yep.
So tonight we're going to talk about how you request a costume, and it's a very easy process. First thing you do is you go to our website at www.walkinrollin.org/apply, and that will take you to the application site. Now, there's a few description talking a little bit about it. We do mention that it does take about 3 months minimum to build one of these costumes that we do. And that just goes from getting all the measurements of the chair, the photos, the sketches, getting the sketches approved, getting into how ordering pieces and parts, and depending upon the costume, we may have to get some specialty items and things like that. So when you start this, you'll fill out the top half of the application is pretty straightforward. It's basically contact information so that we have a way of reaching out to you and being able to keep in touch during the entire build process. Then after that, we start asking a few questions about the child, how old they are, what type of chair they're in. Is it a manual chair? Is it a motorized chair? The make, model, and brand of the chair, so that we can at least try and get a some early sketches and design work done. And then we also ask questions like, can the child drive themselves? If they do, if they have a manual wheelchair and they're able to drive themselves, then we want to make sure that the costume doesn't interfere with that. If the child does not drive themselves, then we ask, do you need access to the parent handles in the back? And that's so that the parents can easily drive the child around. Now, we have had all kinds of situations where some kids drive themselves and they do not want access to the parents' handles. They don't want their parents pushing them around in the costume at all. So they just want to be able to drive however they can. And then we have other parents who are like, I don't want my child to drive in this costume. I will push them around. So
other times they need access to both.
Yep. So it just depends on how you answer those 2 questions. And then the last thing we ask for is a photograph of the child in the chair. And that's so that we can kind of get an idea on what we're dealing with in designing the costume. We also will have a better idea if you have any extra things added to it, oxygen tanks or any type of pumps or anything that we need to take into account when we're building the costume. So the form is very straightforward and fairly simple. It doesn't take very long to do it. We're not asking for insurance information or anything like that, so you don't have to worry about trying to fill out that. We just want to make it as simple and easy for you as it can be. And then once you finish the application, we will be notified, and we will work with our volunteers. Depending upon what city you're in, we may try and pair you up with a volunteer in your city, and so that way it's easier to do measurements and do test fittings, things like that on the chair. And so it's always easier to do that. But that doesn't, if we don't have builders in your area, that doesn't restrict you from getting a costume, because what have we done?
We've shipped several costumes.
Several costumes. And so, that all is part of it. You don't have to pay extra to get your costume shipped or anything. We try and we take care of all of that. The building of the costume, the supplies, the shipping, everything that needs to be done. And so the volunteers basically help us to by building the costumes locally, so that it's much easier and for you as a family to experience getting one of these costumes in a positive way. We always try and make it a good experience for you, and make it fun for the builders, and hopefully fun for the child that's getting the costume as well. So the next thing I want to talk about, we had Scott Moreland gave us a great donation earlier. We want to show you how anyone can make a donation. We've made it easy with a mobile text number that you can do. You can text WRC 2020 VP to the number 707070, and that will take you to a form that you can fill out to designate how much money you would like to donate to Walkin Rollin Costumes. Each one of our costumes costs roughly $250 to build, and about 150 hours to put together. So, any amount of donation helps us. So please donate if you can. And then let's see, the next thing. Oh, we have a message from the North Pole. We're gonna need to check on our friend in the North Pole, Buddy the Elf. Let's see what Buddy's up to.
Syrup. I love syrup. Oh, hi. Hey, it's me, Buddy the Elf. Guess what? I've teamed up with Walkin Rollin Costumes. We're going to pay for a lot of Walkin Rollin costumes, the wheelchair costumes. It'll be so much fun. You know how we're going to do it? Video calls, one-on-one with me, Buddy the Elf. I'll send you a link, and you'll get on your computer, and we'll talk just like a video call. It'll be so much fun.
That's right. That was Buddy the Elf, and he's calling straight from his workshop at the North Pole. And what we are doing, we are partnering with him to help raise more funds to build more costumes for kids in wheelchairs.
That's right.
And the way that it works is if you donate $20, you can book a time for Buddy to make a video conference call with you, your family members, your child, anyone that would like to have a one-on-one talk with Buddy.
Oh, yeah.
He will be making the calls between the end of November to the first couple weeks in December.
Yeah.
And he will schedule the time with you so that you know when to be ready on your computer and have a one-on-one call with him. And of course, yes, you can record the entire call so you can play it back as often as you'd like.
Yes.
Here's more details on what the call would be like, and how it all works.
Sometimes Captain Crunch, even for dinner.
You ever put syrup on your Captain Crunch?
No.
Oh, you should. It's good on everything. It's good on Captain Crunch. It's good on spaghetti. Pop-Tarts. You ever eat a Pop-Tart?
Yes.
And I just mix it all up good together. It's all wonderful. Everybody loves it. Everybody loves it. You should know that. You're a kid. How old are you?
7.
7? Papa's 547. I'm only about 35, but I'm a human. But it's nice to meet another human who shares my affinity for elf culture.
So that's how it works. It's very simple. And if you'd like to book your call now, go to www.walkinrollin.org/VP2020 for Virtual Party 2020. When you get there, there's an icon for booking your call with Buddy the Elf. Do it now. There are limited spots available. He can't make calls all the time because he's got to do a lot of work for Santa's workshop. So there's a limited number of calls that you can get this. So book it now. All right. Thank you very much. Remember, all donations go to help build more costumes for kids in wheelchairs. Thank you.
We can talk about your birthday, or we can talk about Halloween or Thanksgiving, or your dog or your cat. Or Christmas! We could talk about Christmas! There's so much to do to get ready for Christmas. Oh my gosh! Santa's coming! There's so many toys to make. Oh my gosh, I've got to get going. Oh, hey, book your call. Video one-on-one with Buddy the Elf now. Bye.
Thank you, Buddy. Glad to hear from you again. Now, the past few nights we've been calling in to Bert.
Uh-huh.
And Bert has been working on a costume and trying to. Now, last night he came up with a kind of a bad idea about what was he doing?
Welding cardboard.
Welding cardboard. Probably not a wise idea. Let's give Bert a call and see how it's going. Let's see. Let's call him up on FaceTime.
Eunice!
Bert!
Eunice,
Bert.
come down
Oh,
here.
oh,
Open the
what'd you
door.
do?
Help
That's
me.
not good.
Help me. Oh,
Definitely
Lord,
not
I think
good.
this is the
No.
big one.
Bert,
Guys, why didn't you tell
It's
me
all-
not to weld two pieces
Open
of
the
cardboard
door.
together?
The
I've got a
garage
mess
door. Just
down
open
here.
it.
Oh, Lord.
It'll get the
Eunice!
smoke out.
Eunice, help me! Help me! Oh,
Oh my
Lord.
word,
Eunice!
Bert!
Eunice, there's a fire! There's a fire down here! Open the door! Oh,
Just-
Lord, Eunice!
Can you get the button?
Oh, it's the big one. This is the big
It's not the
one.
big one.
Oh,
It's
Lord,
smoke.
Eunice. Guys,
It's
y'all
just smoke.
should have told me not to weld two pieces of cardboard
thought you
together. I gotta
knew.
go.
We thought it was obvious.
Oh goodness. Well, we're visited by our other son, Callan. Say hi, Callan.
Hi.
So Callan is kind of curious about what's going on here. So let's see. Since we'll have to check on Bert tomorrow, see how he's doing. But we wanted to talk to Chris Rude. He's been helping us out. He's worked on an interview for us. So he was talking to the family that received a Black Hawk helicopter costume
Last year.
And it just so happened Chris had helped us with a BB-8 costume last year. And it just so happens that through another person, he knew the family that got the Black Hawk. So it was just kind of a mutual friendship. So we're going to hear a story about the friendship that occurred between these two different costume builds.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Chris, and I'm glad you're here at the 2020 virtual party for Walkin Rollin costumes. It's been an adventure getting this far and working with Lon to see where things are going. And I'm so glad you're here participating and supporting Walkin Rollin costumes. We're here with a costume that happened last year, and we're going to talk through that and maybe have a little unique perspective. So we'll start introducing people, and we'll get into discussing this costume. So we'll turn it over to Shelly. Shelly, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself and telling us about your family, about your daughter and the costume you received, and maybe go through the process of talking to Lon and working with Walkin Rollin costumes to get that.
Okay, I'm Shelly Worrell, and we live on Oahu in Hawaii. And let's see, my husband is an Army chaplain, and my daughter is 9 years old and has cerebral palsy, is in a wheelchair, sometimes walks in a gait trainer. And a few years ago, we heard about the Walkin Rollin costumes, and I had made her wheelchair costumes up till then, but they weren't able to move. I just did kind of a box around them and stuff, and so I had heard about it a few times and thought, okay, well, why not try something, because we wanted a Black Hawk helicopter since her dad was in an aviation brigade at the time. And so I'm not even sure, I think I contacted Lon via Facebook and just mentioned it to him, and they ran with it. And a few months later, we had a huge box at our door and had a helicopter. And now, a year later, it is still being talked about on the island.
That's amazing. It's one of those, having a costume that I had done for my son, I know that impact that it still has. And what is some of that impact that has happened, or that those encounters that you've had, the connections you've made? Even are there people that you've met through this costume, sharing it and going to events, things like that? What are some of those events that in stories that you have that have come out of this costume?
Well, her first event was her school parade, and when we walked in, the principal was dressed up as I don't even remember now, but he was really excited about his costume until he saw hers, and he goes, "Oh, I'm not leading the parade. She's leading the parade."
That's awesome.
And so for her whole elementary school, she got to lead the parade, and then she went to the trunk or treat the night before Halloween, and it was the aviation brigade trunk or treat. So everybody there pretty much was aviation people. A lot of people said it really looked authentic. They loved the lights. They loved everything about it. And then just recently, and then for Halloween night, we went around the neighborhood. But just recently, we had a couple fires here on base, and one of the gals was talking, and as soon as she saw Charlene, she goes, "She was the one at Halloween that had the helicopter." It's like, yes, she is. And so it gives you that when they see her. We've had opportunities just to talk to people. We've told them about the Walkin and Rollin. Couple people, they're like, "Oh, I have a cousin that's in a wheelchair," or "I have, somebody I know." And so I just give them the information, say they make amazing costumes, and the kids are so excited.
Yeah, that is, it's some of those relationships that we've experienced in our adventures with what was a BB-8 wheelchair that I had made for my son. Still have relationships that only exist, and really the relationship I have with Walkin and Rollin exists because of that, of building that costume for my son. At the time, I didn't know Walkin and Rollin existed, so it's been an awesome connection there. I've met so many what are now friends through this costume, and it's amazing to see that, and really segues into kind of what brought us all together tonight is the friendship I had with Bethany, and that goes back to at least high school. I knew her family anyway. I think before that, and knew your brother Joe for probably a few years before I knew you, and we got to know each other in high school. And then that was Northern Ohio. You've moved to Indiana. I've moved to East Tennessee, and I ended up sharing a post on Facebook from Walkin and Rollin. And I believe Shelly had shared the same post, and Bethany commented saying, "Wow, it was kind of neat seeing the same post shared by two different friends that are literally on opposite ends of the country and beyond, really." So I guess, Bethany, what's your experience there, and what's your relationship with, I guess, start with maybe that, with what's your relationship with Shelly and how that happened, and maybe catch us up to speed to bridge that gap. And then we'll go into your perspective of all this.
Okay. Well, so we met in high school. My brother, I think, probably was at your house first for cello lessons with your sister way back when. And then we go back to the games department. I was thinking about that too. We both worked there. And I met Shelly and her husband in northeast Pennsylvania when our husbands were in seminary together. Okay. So we cover quite a few states here between Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee. Shelly's in Hawaii now, but you've been all over too. Yeah. So I know Shelly from those school years, those seminary years for our husbands. And I had kind of just very loosely kept in touch, like Facebook touch with probably the two of you almost equally, probably Shelly a little more, and seen some of the things with your son, and then your like viral post about the BB-8 costume on Reddit, was it? I think. Yeah. I remember seeing that and thinking, yeah, that totally doesn't surprise me. That seems like exactly the kind of thing like Chris would be doing with his life, or be doing in life, I guess, right now. And I thought that was so cool. And then you had shared that they'd asked you with Walkin and Rollin to help with, because someone else wanted a BB-8 costume. And I think that maybe you were giving them like some insight into how you had like made the costume, or things that you found that worked or didn't work, something along those lines. And I'm like, that's really cool. And then I remember, Shelly, some of the costumes that you had made on your own for Charlene over the years, maybe when you were over on the East Coast more. Mm-hmm. And saw that you were getting this really cool Blackhawk costume and noticed that's the same company, I'm pretty sure, the same organization, I guess, that Chris was talking about. That's just wild. And I don't know, I guess that's kind of why I'm still on Facebook. Like, you know, everybody talks about how Facebook like really just is not so fun sometimes anymore and kind of unpleasant. But I love seeing the cool things that my friends are doing or that are happening to them or for them. And I remember last year that just being like such a neat tie between people that I know but don't know each other and didn't really have any other connection. But I was getting to see even both ends. Like one person was a recipient and one person was, I know you didn't necessarily help with the build for that one, but helping the builders be on, you know, both sides of that organization. And it was a really neat introduction to what they do and what they offer to people, and kind of seeing everything that, I mean, not even seeing everything, but seeing some of what goes into designing a costume, and then seeing how excited a family is that the costume's being built, and oh, it's been shipped, and oh, look what arrived, and oh, look how it looks on Halloween. Like that was like, I don't know, I think as someone who really isn't necessarily involved directly with the organization, getting to see that like all the way through just as like kind of a bystander was a pretty neat thing.
Yeah, you've summed it up very well, and it's one of those, seeing kind of that same thing of, I had my experience as a parent, you know, and yes, it's something I had built, but seeing that experience of how it was received. And I'll be honest, when we took him to, it was Hollywood Studios on May the 4th for Star Wars Day. So walking in there, and we're kind of like, you know, I had worries, am I even going to be allowed to get into the park, you know, with this costume on? But yet to see how it engaged with so many people, and you know, literally step to step, we're engaging with people, and how it's transformed, you know, a relationship in an instant, and broken down any barriers, and how it reveals a kid, not for the physical restrictions or being in a wheelchair, but exposing the life, the soul of that child that just has a really, really awesome costume. And that really goes to the foundation of what Walkin Rollin is. And you'll hear those stories through this virtual party that go back to why Lon restarted it. And it was the same thing of Lon was building costumes for Reese, for his son, and just watched walls get broken down that were barriers that, as he would say, kid, from the conversations I've heard or things I've heard, is there are barriers that are there that kids aren't mean, but they're maybe hesitant to engage. But yet you come with a cool costume on, whether it's a Black Hawk or a BB-8 or anything else, and those walls just get torn down and melt away, and the kid is seen as, the wheelchair disappears. It's an awesome kid in an awesome costume. And I'm assuming, Shelly, that's the same response you've seen with those costumes that you've been building.
Yeah, definitely. I was just pulling up, and I'll put it up here, but that doesn't say it all. Look at her face when she was in it, and it said it all.
And those are images that are burned into your mind, and,
yes,
and you will carry for the rest of your life. And I've had people that have come up to me and said that same thing of, you know, how they're going to remember that, and that's one of the coolest things they've seen. So, you know, I'm thrilled to see and hear more of these stories from other kids, and especially working with Walkin Rollin, where that's what they're doing is getting costumes to kids. It is absolutely amazing. And then to have stories like this with Bethany, you know, seeing a third party, if you will, that is not someone that's, you know, physically been a part of it, you know, or directly involved is maybe a better way of saying that, where they're either helping with a costume build or a recipient, but being able to see the pure joy from the child, but yet, see things I as a builder am sharing and get excited about the organization and see how it is life changing on both sides. And for me, having both sides of that experience to help with not only my son's costume, but help with Evan's costume, the other child that got the BB-8, really is. I get just as excited when I was seeing his pictures, knowing I helped with that project. I get just as excited there as I did when I was building it for my son. And those emotions come back when I see things like the pictures of the Black Hawk or any of the other costumes. It's one of those, you can't help but have it brighten your day. And that's really what Walkin and Rollin is about. It's about, let's face it, changing lives. Even if that life has changed for what seems like a moment while that costume's on, but those memories, those relationships, everything like that is built and is truly life-changing. And I don't need to keep, being the one to say that. It's one of those, do you guys have any other thoughts there, I guess, so that I'm not taking up our time? You guys are here as well. And what are your thoughts and experiences there of how that's happened and how that's changed maybe more of the, I guess, the mental side, the psychological side is probably a better perspective of seeing that. And maybe from both perspectives, both Shelley and Bethany. Shelley, if you want to go first as the recipient, how's that changed on the psychological side of life?
I think there's kind of a, like when I made her costumes, we weren't able to move it. I couldn't figure out how to make it so that the chair could move, because it basically built a box around. The first year we did a horse-drawn sleigh. The second year did a pirate ship, but it was something that was stationary, and so we sat out front of our home and handed out candy. Great. She wasn't part of the movement, part of the going house to house, and so that gave her the freedom to actually take her costume to school, take it to, like we would do. Her school costume would be just something random, or to go to like the trunk or treat. But this actually allowed her costume, her main costume, to go trick or treating, to go to the events and things like that, and I think through the years, kids in a wheelchair, it's like, well, they're in a wheelchair, they can't really go, and even when they do go trick-or-treating, they're still in a wheelchair. She was not in a wheelchair last year. She was in a Black Hawk helicopter. And these kids are in, your son was BB. One of the other ones I remember was the Chiefs, the big old stadium.
The Arrowhead Stadium.
We still say he's the reason why they won the whole team or the whole thing. But it's like they're not in a wheelchair at that point.
Exactly.
They're in a helicopter flying around their neighborhood, and that was like, I'm gonna tear up. But that's what's cool about it, is it takes them out of that wheelchair for a night.
Thank you, Chris, for that great interview. We're going to come back to this interview a little later in the episode and catch the second half of it. But I just wanted everyone to know that we are monitoring the comments that are on Facebook and seeing what people are saying. And
we have other people monitoring the YouTube side.
and all kinds of things. And so one of the questions, Chris Rood, who you just watched, was asking if we have a current total that's been donated so far. So as of now, based on all the donations so far and all of the matching donations from our sponsors up to this point, we have raised just shy of $8,000 for Walkin' and Rollin' costumes. So thank you very much to everyone Doing great. Let's see what we can do. We've still got the rest of this episode and then 5 more episodes after this one. So let's see what is next. Oh, we have been teasing a costume every episode, and it's actually the costume that we're going to be revealing on the 10th episode, the final episode, which is coming up on Sunday. And so let's show you the sneak peek for tonight's episode.
So we started working on the shell of the costume, and you can see in the front we've added some styrene to the PVC frame that we have, so it's nice and rigid, and all the paneling around, so kind of get an idea on the shape of the costume. Gives us a little shelf to work with, and still has room for the child's legs to go through. And then we're also kind of working on the back a little bit, figuring out how that's going to work as well. So just want to give you the latest update on the costume that will be revealed on a later episode of Walkin Rollin Costumes Virtual Party.
So how many people think they know what the costume is yet? All right, you'll find out at the last episode. So we've been talking about sponsorships and raising money. The Polsky Family Charitable Foundation has been a big supporter of Walkin Rollin Costumes for the past couple of years. And this year they wanted to make another sponsorship donation. And so for tonight, they have made a matching donation of $2,000 for every donation for the next 24 hours that comes into whether it is making a monetary donation, whether it is making a reservation with Buddy the Elf, our raffle tickets, or the t-shirts that we're selling, any of that, the text number, any of that comes in the next 24 hours, the Polsky Family Charitable Foundation will match it up to $2,000. So thank you very much. And let's see. Oh, we've got a trivia thing coming up.
Yep.
So you tell it. I feel like I've been talking this whole episode. My son is just, yep. Come on. Work with me here. you talk.
Last episode, I asked a question. Let's see how many people got right. The answer to the last trivia question, what was the first school to partner with us to build a costume as part of their STEM program? The answer was O&W or Olathe Northwest.
Here at Walkin Rollin Costumes, we build costumes for kids in walkers and wheelchairs free of charge to the families. And in order to do that, we need your help. To keep these costumes free, we are always in need of donations and sponsorships to help fund the costumes and the supplies used to build them. So for the virtual party, we are offering some different opportunities for you as viewers to get something for your donation. So the first of which is the Buddy the Elf video conference call. You can schedule a 3-minute conference call with Buddy the Elf and schedule it with your child or anyone. You can record the call and be able to relive that moment over and over with your child. The next option is the Raffle Prizes. We are offering 6 different items as part of the raffle. And if you go to our website at www.walkinrollin.org/VP2020 for Virtual Party 2020, you can find the raffle prizes and see which ones you'd like to purchase tickets for in order to try and win one of the raffle items. The third option is to purchase one of our t-shirts that we have done for the past 4 years. And the 3 years prior to this, those shirts are being sold for $15, and we are limited to the number of sizes that we have available. So order quickly. The new shirt for 2020 was designed by John Nell, a local artist here in Kansas City, and it was voted by you, the fans, as the favorite choice for the design for the 2020 t-shirt. You can purchase that online through October 31st. There's no limit to the number that you can order on that one or which sizes. We will not print them until after October 31st. So order as many as you'd like. Those are being sold for $25 a piece, and all the t-shirts will be shipped free of charge to you. If you would like to reserve a call with Buddy the Elf, purchase raffle tickets, or purchase a t-shirt from Walkin Rollin Costumes, visit our website at walkinrollin.org/VP2020. Again, thank you for helping sponsor and donate to Walkin Rollin Costumes to help make all these costumes free for the families. Thank you.
Hey everybody out there in internet land, I am Uncle Bobby, just Twisted Halloween's friend, that's all. Just want to let you know that even though Twisted does not have a physical location this year, you can still shop Twisted Halloween online. It's twistedhalloweenkc.com. When you do, use the promo code WRC2020VP. This will save you 10% and it will donate 10% of your sale back to Walkin and Rollin. Please follow us, like us. Thank you for supporting Walkin and Rollin and this small business. It's you that's the true superhero.
2020 has changed the way we do many things. Shopping is one of them. This holiday season, if you're going to do a bit more online shopping, why not support Walkin and Rollin Costumes at the same time? All you need to do is go to smile.amazon.com, select Walkin and Rollin Costumes as your charity, and shop like you normally do. You can even enable Amazon Smile to donate when you make a purchase from the app on your mobile device. Give yourself a smile every time you make a purchase, knowing you've just helped build an amazing costume for an amazing kid.
All right. So those are all the different ways that you can purchase items, make reservations, all kinds of things to help us raise money for Walkin and Rollin Costumes. But if you just want to donate with your mobile device, get out your mobile device right now and text the phrase WRC 2020 VP, which stands for Walkin Rollin Costumes 2020 Virtual Party. And you text that to the number 707070. And that will take you to a link that will be a form that you can choose how much you would like to donate. And you can make it either a one-time donation or a recurring donation. It's completely up to you. Yeah. So again, that's the phrase WRC 2020 VP to 707070. All right, it's time to give away a shirt.
Yep.
Go for it.
I got another trivia question. Let's see who can get it right first to get a 2020 t-shirt.
Answer in the comments on Facebook, on YouTube. Just put your answers in the comments. We're monitoring it. We're going to pick a winner tonight. Let's see. Roll it.
Tonight we are giving away a Walkin Rollin Costumes 2020 t-shirt to whoever answers this Walkin Rollin Costumes trivia question first in the comments below. What costume featured a working Amazon Fire tablet? The first person to answer the question correctly in the comments below wins a free 2020 Walkin Rollin Costumes t-shirt. Good luck!
I'm looking for answers. Come on, people. I'm waiting for the answer. Give me the answer to the trivia question. I want to see it. All right. While I'm waiting, we have a testimonial from someone who has built a few costumes with us.
Yes.
So do you want to introduce
him? And helped with a few reveal parties, too.
That's true. He's a really tall guy, so you may have seen him. Say hello to Jake Sharp.
Hi, my name is Jake Sharp. I have been helping with Walkin and Rollin for a few years now, and I have a few favorite memories, one of them being helping build the RC car a few years ago. I helped with Reese one-on-one with that and a few other people, but getting to see Reese go from receiving these costumes from his dad to building them and wanting to give back to the community was really inspiring. And then anytime I get to see the reveals and be a part of that and see those kids' faces light up when they get their costumes and see them for the first time is such a fantastic feeling. So thanks Walkin and Rollin for making all this possible and giving back to the kids in the community.
All right, so I believe we may actually have a winner to the trivia question already. Congratulations to Shelly Worrell. She answered correctly with the Chiefs Stadium. Had a Chiefs Stadium wheelchair costume that we built last year, and
it was at the reveal party.
And the little boy wanted to go as Patrick Mahomes. I'm not going to say that we had anything to do with it, but they did win the Super Bowl after that. So
this was before they won the Super Bowl. So
yeah, but it was that season.
Yeah.
So just saying. Walking and Rolling costumes may have maybe not. Okay. All right, so we want to go back to Chris Rude to continue the interview that he had about the Black Hawk helicopter. So let's throw it over to Chris.
Bethany, I guess what's kind of been your mindset, and I guess that from a psychological perspective, if you will, that you've seen, and maybe how that's impacted you, and how are you seeing things differently now after seeing these costumes being built, being handed out, and being maybe one arm length away now, knowing two people that have been involved?
Yeah, I think that it is really obvious, being that arm's length away, like you can see the joy and you can see the excitement, and kind of, maybe this is tied to what Shelley was saying too, kind of like a sense of freedom that comes when they are in, like, receiving and trick-or-treating or visiting Disney World in those costumes, wheelchair costumes. I also think it's been a neat opportunity a little bit with my kids. Like, I don't know, a lot of times I'll like bring them over, just like you do when you see like a funny image or GIF or whatever, like, hey, come check this out. I'll do that with your post on Reddit. Like I showed my kids that because of course they love Star Wars. And last year when this was going on, check out, isn't this costume cool? And it's a neat way to like build dialogue with my kids and have them be thinking, like, what must that feel like to get that cool costume, or to have that opportunity, or to connect on that level with the kids around them, like thinking of your son sitting there next to BB-8 and hearing you kind of talk about all the engagement that he had, even with BB-8. Like, neither of them are speaking audible words at that point, but that connection is happening, and like everybody can appreciate that, even if you haven't necessarily had a kid in a wheelchair or had a kid receive a costume. You can appreciate, as just a human being, usually, that connections are able to be made on an exciting level for the people involved through the costume. And I think Shelley talked about that so much in ways that we don't necessarily think about, the fact that when you're sitting there passing out candy, you really aren't involved. And when it's your choice to pass out candy, that's fine. But when it's because your costume is super awesome but it doesn't move, like, that's not really your choice per se. It's kind of like a side effect of things, and that's a neat level of freedom. And then to be able to talk with my kids about it and say, check out this costume, like, how would you feel if you were riding around town in a Black Hawk costume, like you guys talked about it, erasing the wheelchair, and having that opportunity to talk with our kids about how, like, I always tell them, like, it's the same person in the wheelchair or in the Black Hawk, if I use that example, like, it's the same person on the inside. It's the same person in the Black Hawk as in the wheelchair. And if you think that's really cool now, like, there's still a really cool person when it's not a helicopter in, like Shelley, or maybe it was you, one of you mentioned how sometimes it's not necessarily an unkindness, but it's more of an uncomfortableness that other kids experience. And it is a neat opportunity to say, it doesn't have to be uncomfortable just because it's different and new, and to use that costume as a way to bridge that and kind of open that door for my kids or for whoever to say, like, it's okay to keep, pushing after a relationship or asking or talking to people. It doesn't have to be the costume hiding it, but it's a good start. I don't know if that makes sense, but
absolutely,
that's one of the things that I think has been neat, or at least was neat last year, and kind of revisiting some of that with my kids.
Yeah, and those connections, even through as we're talking about Facebook or Reddit or social media or whatever that platform is, just shows how small the world becomes. And I think this is a manifestation of that almost, because we are truly people that have already known or have a connection through Bethany, that it is a small world when it comes down to it. And I mean, this is a costume. I hit a platform in Reddit that went viral and have made connections on that platform literally with people around the world. And then this connection came up with, through Bethany, of literally pretty much across the country as far as you can get when we add Hawaii in, about as far as we can get away from each other. And it really is neat how things like this not only break those barriers of distance, but break the barriers of the classmate that sits next to you in class, the neighbor that's right next to you. And I think ultimately that's what all this is about. And the biggest joy that comes out of it, seeing the kids, seeing those barriers taken down, and go on. And that's, for everybody watching, it's what Walkin and Rollin really is about, and why they need things like your support and donate, not only monetary donations, because they don't charge a dime, not a penny, for any of these costumes that are sent to the kids. No building costs, no shipping costs. Even if it's being shipped to Hawaii, there's no cost to the family. So having the financial donations is a huge aspect of what they're doing, and would encourage absolutely everybody that can to give what they can, whether it's a one-time thing, whether it's an ongoing donation. Maybe it's something to say, hey, we want to do it as a Facebook fundraiser for the birthday of, that's an organization we want to support. Maybe you can even do it as, hey, for Christmas this year, I want a donation in my name to Walkin and Rollin, something like that, and get creative with how donations can be. But also, there are always kids. I want to say, last count I counted, there were around 25 kids that had applied for a costume that are waiting for builders and waiting for builds to be done. So they need builders. They need people that can engage all over the place. Even if you are in Hawaii, we've sent a costume to Hawaii. So just go onto their website at walkinandrollin.org and see if there's a costume maybe you can get involved with, and maybe find some people in your area or an organization in your area that can help build that costume. But engaging with Walkin and Rollin on any level, no matter your abilities, whether you can construct something, whether you can paint something, whether you can use graphics, your willingness will be rewarded and it will be utilized. I've done video editing for them to help with some of the virtual party stuff. So there's any skill set that you have simply by being a human being is something that can be utilized. For anybody watching to say, hey, this is someplace you can get involved, it's absolutely worthwhile and not a waste of your time at all. So I guess to wrap things up and finish up our call today, Shelley, Bethany, do you have anything else to add or to say?
Just want to say thank you.
Well, since no one else is here, on behalf of Walkin and Rollin, you are welcome. And it is a privilege and a blessing to be able to do that and donate to the costumes. And so I hope I'm not overstepping too much, being a really physically distant from Walkin and Rollin, but still being able to be engaged. It is absolutely a pleasure to be able to give and provide costumes to such amazing kids. Exceptional costumes for exceptional kids is a tagline, and it's absolutely true. Thank you for a family, being in the military. And I know it's always easy to say thank you for your service, but sometimes thank you for your sacrifice and the dedication you have as a family that goes not only the person that's directly serving or has been in the military, but as a family unit, and even in your email saying you're serving and helping other families. It is a team effort, and I absolutely appreciate it and express that in some form as I fumble over words to do that, but I truly appreciate it for your whole family, not just your husband who's enlisted.
Thank you. Yeah, we love it. We it's a good life.
Well, Shelley, Bethany, if you don't have anything else, I certainly appreciate your time for sitting down and chatting with me and sharing your story, sharing your experience of bringing what sometimes is a world of so much distance so close together. I truly appreciate it personally, and I know Walkin and Rollin appreciates it as an organization. So if there's nothing else, you guys have a wonderful evening, and we will get back to the virtual party, and we will see you in the next segment, episode, next days to come, whatever that may be. We certainly appreciate you watching and following along, and we will see you very, very soon. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, Chris.
All right. Thank you. Have a good evening, everyone.
Well, thank you, Chris and Shelley and Bethany, for the great interview. We really appreciate it. And just so you guys know, Hawaii is the furthest we've ever shipped a costume, but it's not the furthest that we've received requests. We have received requests from Europe and from England and other European countries, but we are not able to ship them that far, just because it is too expensive to ship a costume that far. However, we are looking for builders in Europe that could possibly help these kids and build costumes for them there. So be sure and sign up as a volunteer, and don't think that just because you're not in the U.S. you might not be able to get a costume. You never know who will be volunteering tomorrow. So let's keep that in mind. And so to keep it, also to remember to apply for a costume. That's on the other page. There we go. Go to the application at walkinrollin.org/apply. And that's so that you can fill out the application and get on the queue to see if we can pair you up with a volunteer to help build your costume. Remember, it does take about 3 months minimum to build a costume. Sometimes it takes longer if we have trouble finding a builder in your area. But also remember that you can go to the virtual party page, which is walkinrollin.org/VP 2020. And that will take you to the main page of the virtual party. Here's where you can see all the past episodes we've done so far. Just right there, you got links directly to them. And tonight's, after we're done here, we'll make that link hot and you can watch this one again as well. It also shows you the next 5 episodes that are coming up. And then it also has links for the to reserve your video call with Buddy the Elf, to get t-shirts, to get raffle tickets. All that can be done there as well. And then you can also see if you would like to make a donation to Walkin Rollin Costume, but instead of just a blank donation to the entire organization, you can actually look, if you scroll down just a little further, at the kids needing sponsors. These are the kids that we were building costumes for this virtual party. And so you'll see some of their costumes. We've already seen one of them with A League of Their Own costume. And so you can make donations directly to those kids' costumes as well. So again, it's walkinrollin.org/VP 2020 to get all the information about the party. So I want to thank everyone for watching tonight's episode. This is our closing for tonight's episode.
For the 5th episode.
5th episode. We're halfway done. We've got 5 more to go after this. And remember, if you want to reach out to us, you can always find us on our website at walkinrollin.org, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Vero, and then YouTube is where we have all of our videos of costume reveals and training videos on how how the costumes are put together, as well as these virtual party episodes are on there as well. And then Pinterest has all of have photos of finished costumes and sketches of mini costumes that we haven't even built yet. So you can find us on those. Then we would also like to thank everyone that has helped us with this episode of the virtual party. Thank you to Chris Rude, Shelley Worrell, Bethany Raymond, Jake Sharp, and our sponsor, the Norman and Elaine Polsky Family Charitable Foundation, for donating $2,000 as a matching donation. So every dollar that is donated to us for the next 24 hours will be matched by the Polsky Family Charitable Foundation. And then we'd also like to thank Jason Hunt with Sci-Fi For Me for producing this video and the entire series, Chris Rude for editing and interviewing, Twisted Halloween for their donation and sponsorship. Buddy the Elf, you want to be sure and book your video call with Buddy the Elf, and John Nell for designing the 2020 t-shirt for the Walkin Rollin Costumes virtual party. And thank you to the Davis family for everything that they sacrifice. And keep in mind, going to walkinrollin.org/VP 2020 is where you can reserve your call with Buddy the Elf, order your raffle tickets for the prizes that we have available there, and to order your t-shirts with the Walkin Rollin Costumes virtual party. Then on tomorrow's night's episode, we're going to talk with workshops and makerspaces, and you'll learn about how we have hosted quite a few different workspaces or workshops where we build multiple costumes in a single weekend.
I think the most we built in a single weekend is 7 or 8.
7 or 8 costumes. So yeah, you want to be there tomorrow night to see that. We're going to have some great interviews and some people that you might not expect. So thank you for watching tonight. I want everybody to stay safe. And again, my name is Lon Davis.
And I'm Reese Davis.
And we're with Walkin Rollin Costumes. Everybody keep rolling from home. Thanks.
I want to reach more kids, and the only way to do that is to have more volunteers. I want to see every child that wants one of these costumes to get one. If you know a teacher at a high school, or a Boy Scout troop leader, Girl Scout troop leader, any type of group or organization that would like to attempt to build one of these costumes or to help out a child, contact us. We have lots of resources. We have plenty of people willing to help build these costumes, but we need to get the message out. So share this video, let them know about what we do, why we do it, and get us in contact with kids who might need a costume, or any adults or families that would like to help build a costume. We're here for you.